Yeah.
Or watching the Niners.
Or watching the Niners. They're up by 7.
Okay, good. So, but, you know.
Hi, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm off.
Wait, did I switch out?
Whatever.
It might be some folks that are 10 versions.
Yeah. I think tonight's not pretty good process.
What's traffic?
It was pretty bad, actually.
Big crowds.
Yeah.
Meetings.
It took like over an hour to get back. Oh.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Did you have had a chance to look at those pickleball stats today?
I didn't. No. Okay.
It is crazy. Totally crazy. Anyway, you want?
Good. Yeah, no, I got your email though, so I
Okay.
will. Yeah, I'll look at it in depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, traffic was really bad. Really bad.
No. Yep.
31.
Perfect. Yeah, we're ready. Yeah, we're ready to go. Yep.
Great. This is the September 21st meeting of the Larkspur Parks and Recreation Commission. Shall we do digital roll call?
Yes, I will call a roll. Chair Sunshine.
Here.
Commissioner Baxter.
Here.
Commissioner Capel.
Here.
Commissioner Harrison.
Here.
And Commissioner Friedel is out sick tonight.
Okay, let's go to item number 2, public comment. Commission will hear public comment only on matters on which they have jurisdiction. There will be no commission discussion. And the chair will allot no more than 5 minutes to an individual. And these comments need to be correct, focused on something that's not on the agenda.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anyone here who would like to make public comments during the comment session? You know,
And just to clarify, this was for stuff that's on the agenda or not on?
Not on the agenda, so yeah.
So,
Right.
Are you able to amplify by any chance?
Speakers are not, no.
Okay.
Are there any members of the public online that would like to speak for public comment for items that are not on the agenda? Please raise your hand. We do not have any hands raised.
okay, so let's move to item 3, approval of the consent calendar. We've got the minutes of April 20th. I was absent from that meeting, so I did not vote, but I have a motion to approve. I'll second. Everyone who can vote. See without Jean.
Let me,
You have to be
I'm
some form.
I'm sorry, I don't have that form in front of me. Who was present that meeting?
We've got 3 of us.
Oh, okay, perfect. Good.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of minutes of August 17th. That was Sunshine, Harrison, and Capel.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
And I will second.
You all in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect, motion passes.
The minutes are approved. Moving on to item 4, we have no public hearings today, and then let's move on to item 5. Our business item is the pickleball paddle rack rotational system. It's rolled off the tongue. Tell us about that.
Great. So we painted pickleball lines on the tennis courts in 2019. We had been doing indoor lessons in the hall gym on Sundays using the lines in the gym, which are traditionally used for the birdie. Thank you for badminton, and they were perfect size. So we ended up starting pickleball in the hall gym in 2018. The popularity was huge. We decided to paint some lines on one of the courts at the tennis courts, and at the time we realized that we could get 4 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court. And so we did that in 2019. We were doing some lessons out there, and then during the pandemic stopped, and the courts continued being used, and popularity has skyrocketed. If you go out there most evenings, you'll see large groups out there. Right now, there are 3 days dedicated to open pickleball time in the afternoon, which I'll be looking at to increase for the month of October. I think right now you can pretty much guaranteed find full courts out there Monday through Friday, starting about 1 or 2 p.m. Going through the evening. One of the things that has come up with pickleball out there on the tennis courts is that there are rules for how to rotate off of a tennis court for tennis players, but there are not rules because pickleball has a different scoring system and different lengths of games, that there were no rules for how to rotate off of a pickleball court. So as the courts were filled, there would sometimes be tension and confusion about how to move off and how the next person or how the next group was going to come on. The group that's playing out there right now has a great community, and they have adopted off the books the paddle rotation system, and which they do in Novato, which has been pretty popular out there. And so the way that this works is there's a rack that's set up. You would if the courts are all full, you go and you put your paddle in the rack, and then the next 4 up, or so when a game ends, those 4 rotate off, put their paddles in the rack, and the next 4 paddles will go in and take over that court. There's some challenges right now to that system. Right now, there are it's BYO net right now, so people are bringing their own net. It's been like that for a few years. Was kind of a problem at first, and people didn't have nets. I think everybody's kind of gotten nets now, but what that raises is a question of, if somebody brings a net, sets up, they rotate off, and they want to leave, they would essentially have to leave their net for somebody else. So what we'll be looking at doing is purchasing some rolling nets for that court in the next few weeks as well. And so my recommendation is to take public comment and discuss this, and hopefully adopt this rule going forward.
Let's take public comment and then have a discussion.
Question for me, or we can take public comment? Yeah.
One question.
Yes.
Regarding the rack, how many paddles does it hold?
The model that I'm looking at is a 16 paddle Next Up brand.
So that would cover all of the courts if they all got converted to pickleball.
So there are 4 pickleball courts going. There's 1 rack with 16 paddles. So that would be a lot of people out there. Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Right, so the comment tonight is we want to hear about this system only. Am I correct there, or is there any?
Your discussion is centered around this system. It doesn't have to be limited at public comment. Yeah.
Can you explain it? So if you're one group of 4, you put all 4 paddles. It seems like there's a color-coded system. So you put all 4. So and if there's 16 paddles, that means there's 4 groups that are in the queue, correct?
Correct. If 16 slots are full, it's a doubles game, so that would be four courts. Yeah.
Right, and it's 4 courts, 4 on deck, and is that, and so it's whatever court becomes available, you take that one. You don't do it individually for each court, it's just one waiting system for all 4.
Correct. It'll be one rack that covers all 4 courts.
Okay.
Centrally located. Yeah.
I think, yes, please. Any members of public to come up and.
I'm happy to kick us off. Thank you, Chair Sunshine. I'd like to start by just complimenting and thanking Director Stone for all the work that he has done on this. Been really actively engaged with both myself and Michael, who I'm sure you'll hear from shortly, on trying to figure out how to continue to support the pickleball community out of Hyde Park, which is just totally awesome. But with the growing popularity, where these little tensions coming up, and I think this is a huge step forward in helping out with all of that. So completely support the adoption of the paddle rack and support the adoption of the rules as Director Stone has proposed them. And will they be the perfect rules for all time? Well, you know, let's adopt them, see how they go. It's a great start, and again, really appreciate all the work that he's done to do that. I will say I'd like to bring anything about the longer term as well, which I know is not up for voting today. Of course. Oh, I'm Eric Bowen, Larkspur resident, and sorry, Commissioner.
No, sorry, I just wanted to contextualize your, okay, and pickleball.
Yeah, I started playing almost a year ago. I started playing October of last year. I would encourage all of you to come out and play. It's great fun. With regards to the longer term, I'd like to propose to the commission that at a future meeting, from my perspective, as soon as the next meeting, we have an agenda item about adding pickleball lines to Court 4 in the same way that they currently exist on Court 3. That will double the amount of play that's available. When it's busy, there can be lots and lots of waiting. And on the times when it's not open play and you're using the paddle rotation, but it's just show up and you can have a court, there are often times when all courts are taken. And so your option is not to play, to wait, to drive to Novato and see if you can get a court up there. And it'd be really great for the whole community to have additional lines there at Court 4. And it's something that I think the community would really support. So if we could think about that for a possible future agenda item, I would really appreciate that. And then I know from good conversations with Director Stone, there is an update to the master plan for Piper Park in the works. And I think Commissioner Copel, you had mentioned the possibility of having dedicated pickleball courts, if I read the minutes correctly about that. I think that's a great idea and something that I know the pickleball community would really like to engage with you all on about how we can have long-term dedicated courts. So, thank you so much, and happy to answer any questions that folks have.
I do, yeah. Since you're out there all the time, can you just give us an idea from a user standpoint, you know, how long the wait is it, how many people are out there? Just, you know, what the tenor is of the people waiting, and you know, how big of a problem it's like.
Yeah, so I'll give you a bit of a historical perspective. So when I started playing in October, I would say I would go out there and granted we had a very wet winter, but it was rare that there was any wait at all. It was even rare that all 4 courts would be occupied all at the same time. Since somewhere in the spring, I don't remember if it's exactly April or May, it's gotten to be regular on a Monday through Friday afternoon that all courts will be full at some point, and you can have spots where there's over 10 people waiting. We've had 30 plus people out, and when there's that many people waiting, there's also a lot of people that are just leaving. So how many people would actually be there if there wasn't such a long wait is an unknown thing, because that situation doesn't exist. But we've had multiple days where we've had 10 plus people waiting to rotate it.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, commissioners.
I'm Michael Bowden, also a Larkspur resident. I've been playing pickleball for, this was 6 years. So, I became acquainted with it in a trip to Colorado. And, yeah, so I think I knocked on the call Nick, probably about 4 years ago, kind of a little nudge to get this ball rolling, and it's, I've been really happy. So I'm not gonna go over, I think Eric was in it. She happens to what my feelings are too in this regard. Regarding the new rules for the court. I think that's a great step for us. And of course, how do we expand? I'm just gonna share a few tidbits with you. That I just came across today, about pickleball. And apparently now there are 36.5 million pickleball players in the United States. 36.5. That's third behind biking and running. Tennis is now 6th, which I still consider to be the king of racket sports, but it's 6th. And 22.7 million. I had no idea. And that the age group, the largest age group initially was more of an older group. Apparently now in the country is in 18 and 34. And now we're starting to see reflected on our courts. We're getting younger and younger players playing. And it's a great energy. And I just imagine probably the schools are going to be adopting pickleball programs. If the courts are available, which is good and bad for us. So yeah, so that's what's happening. So yeah, definitely more courts would be beyond what we have now would be wonderful already. It's a little hard to actually I'll be piling on this one court and see all the other courts vacant. Particularly in the summer, that happens a lot. Like what the heck, and what can we do? And so I think somehow that would be a great next step. I hope this sooner than later. Yeah, I don't like waiting to play. I'm already used to just being able to come on, but America's guys can go home for a couple hours play. And anything close to that going further is great. Yeah, permanent courts, dedicated courts. I mean, we have some in Nevada. They have 6 dedicated courts there now. And they're planning their long-term plan to add 4 more. They have 10 courts in that in their recreation area. Any questions? Any of you played pickleball yet? Oh, there you go. Right? So it's just happening. So whatever we can do to accommodate that. Thank you.
Michael, thank you for your testimony. It's great to hear from the fans of the sport. In your opinion, what are your thoughts on the pickleball paddle rack rotation system? Will this alleviate the congestion?
Could you repeat that, please?
On the pickleball paddle rack rotation system, will this alleviate the congestion in the short term?
It'll give order.
Okay.
It'll provide order rather than people going, who's on next? We'll have an orderly system for that to happen. Right, and it just keeps moving forward. But I think that'll be helpful. And having the clear regulations will fall off will help. I think Nick did a great job to simplifying and making it straightforward. And so where we are right now, that will work great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you see and there might be some education needed for people on the new rotational rack system? Is that, I hadn't heard of it before.
Yeah, so they have that up in Nevada now. It seems to work pretty well. In fact, they doubled it from 16 to now 32. And there's that much play sometimes going on in there, because they have 6 courts. But, I think I think it'll be fairly, within the community, everyone's kind of, it'll be nudged that way. I don't think anything formal needs to happen. Fairly self-explanatory.
Since you're out there all the time, would you mind providing your observations as to the use of the tennis courts and the relationship of the tennis courts to the pickleball player?
What's your point regard, do you think?
Well, I'm just wondering, you know, are the tennis courts, are you sitting there with a lot of people waiting for the pickleball courts while there's a bunch of tennis courts that are never being used, or?
Particularly in the summer, there, you know, it wasn't too infrequent, there would be nobody else on the courts, and we're piling in on the court 3. I mean, I know the tennis program, I know Leo teacher there has been there for a long time. And so I you know, it's a transition that's going on here. Yeah, so today there was, you know, Leo was giving a lesson on court 1. There's some people playing court 2. I don't think anyone's at court 3. That's kind of a typical type of day. And everyone's, I think, today because it's super windy. Or at least about, I think it doesn't know what's coming today. But, yeah, having the roll-on nets, I think that'll also clarify things too. Make already pointed out, we're trying to take down things in the middle of these exchanges. Did I answer your question?
You did, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
For coming tonight.
I just came from the pickleball court, so please excuse my attire. My name is Nadia, and my husband Kevin and I live in Corte Madera. And I've been playing pickleball for 2 years, and Kevin probably about a year. I actually have photographs that I've taken of times that I've been out there where there's all 4 courts in pickleball and full, 10 to 15 people waiting, and absolutely nobody on the tennis courts. And it's a bummer for us that want to play and get better. And I just feel like the information that Michael provided in terms of the growth of the sport, that the city really has not taking responsibility, but you know, some role in helping us all find a place to play. There's also 2 dedicated courses in Sausalito, but it's often very windy there. So we appreciate the weather here and really love the fact that we play in a public place. We don't belong to a club like TBC, Tavon, Mountain Club. So it's just a really important resource for us. We're one of the few couples that plays out there together, so we're proud of that. Just anything I can do to support the growth of the sport.
Thank you very much.
Do you play in the Corte Madera course? We had a key for the first year. We found that whenever we went, there were lessons going on. We also found that court 3 could be, and also I did want to mention court 3 was recently resurfaced. I don't think they did a great job. I'm sorry to tell you that, but there's still dead spots. There's some weird painting. Wasn't a great job in my opinion. Thank you.
I am Marcello Bowen, a Larkspur resident. I've been playing pickleball for 9 months, and I have school and homework on the weekdays and sports, so I don't play pickleball that much on the weekdays. But on the weekends, when I go, a lot of times, lots of the courts, like all the courts, when I go, are empty. I mean full. Sorry, but they're full. And sometimes we have to go somewhere else or not play at all, or several times we've had to play on the empty tennis court next to it, which is court 4 with we've had to play with no lines sometimes. Yeah, so if the pickleball, if we put in some, pickleball courts, it would, definitely. Lots of fun. The tennis players can still, when, if there's no one on the court, the tennis players can still play on, court.
Questions?
I do. I just want to say thank you for coming tonight. You did a great job. I know it's not so easy to come up and speak in front of a commission like this. Just out of curiosity, are there a lot of pickleball players, you know, kids your age turning to the sport? Can you speak to that at all? Or?
Yeah, so, I have, when I have friends over, I bring them some of my friends from school or some of our neighbors that are around my age or my age. We bring them out on the courts, they love it, and, we encourage pickleball in schools or, just keep spreading it to the kids as well. Like my age and younger and older and all around, then I think that would be a very fun experience. And if they don't want to do it, they don't have to. But I think a lot of kids would appreciate that as new sport, a new thing to try.
And I take it you're rotating in with the adults, and how's that going? Are you being welcomed?
Well, I don't go on the rotating days, but yes, when I go there on the weekends a lot, yes, I do rotate in with adults. They're very welcoming, and they adjust to any playing level or and very kind, and they will sometimes, if there's courts that are free, they will, let you in their games. Very, very nice community.
Okay. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Marcella, thank you. Okay, is there anyone online?
Please raise your hand if you have any comments related to this item. If you're attending via Zoom. No hands raised.
Commissioners, any discussion necessary on this item?
The wording at all? It's just out of curiosity. On the rule. Yeah.
I mean, your RRS.
Graphic rules. Comment.
Mhm.
I know that these are rules for designated times that the court is reserved for pickleball. But there are times when the courts aren't reserved for pickleball, so you can play tennis or you can play pickleball. Right?
I know where you're going with this. Yes, it's a mixed use court right now.
Yeah.
Currently there is a way for tennis to rotate off to relinquish the court to either another tennis group or to a pickleball group that's waiting. There is no set way right now for pickleball to rotate off to relinquish the court to tennis on court 3. I haven't been able to come up with a solution for this. The only thing that I can really do is to really focus on the times where there's a lot of pickleball going on and then consider making that open pickleball play. Right now we have 3 days in the afternoons and I'm out there every afternoon. I'm looking at, and it's Monday through Friday right now. So in October, that'll just be official time. Weekends are going to be a little bit more challenging to figure that out. But one of the things that has come up is if there's one doubles pickleball match going on one of the courts, and say we put a half-hour time limit on that, and tennis players were potentially waiting to get on the court, there's nothing to stop another pickleball group from coming in and using up one of the other courts right on the 29th minute. So there's just a lot of rules that I haven't been able to work my mind around that I haven't seen a template for moving forward besides adding
Right,
designated open pickleball time.
okay.
Yeah.
Nick, when you drafted up the draft pickball rules, I noticed that you mentioned twice, all players need to rotate off the court. Did you have that on there twice, just to make it abundantly clear that everyone goes? No, it's not like a system where the winner remains, like a basketball, it's kind of a system.
Correct. Yeah, because it is a little bit abnormal. It's accepted in the pickleball rotational system that's being used. But yeah, like in a pickup basketball game, it doesn't work like that. Playground rules are not quite the same. So I just wanted to make that very clear, just because it's not always clear.
Okay.
And if there is, if there's only two people waiting, then in that case, then whoever loses a match would rotate off and the two people would go on. If there's only two paddles in the rack, yeah.
And so these are the draft rules, and then the final rules will come back at the next commission meeting, or is this considered?
I'm hoping to have your blessing to make this the official rules, starting tomorrow morning, or realistically October, when I get the shipment in. So I'm waiting to purchase the rack, but waiting for approval first.
Well, it seems like a really creative, hopefully solution to this particular problem. It sounds like the pickle community is behind it and supportive of it, so I don't have any reservations about giving blessing, but I would speak for the rest of the commission. Nice.
Choose this one, right?
You need two motions, one for the rack and one for the rules.
I didn't see an action item. Is there an
Nope.
action? Oh, actually, review the file like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can just be, it can be
Yes, instead of
rolled
that,
up.
motion,
Yeah.
or-
I don't need two, just one would be sufficient.
So is there a motion for the action?
No, I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
I,
Motion passes 4-0. Commissioner Friedel absent.
I just have one question. Is it okay to ask the audience, and since you're the pickleball player? The rotation system, you get people of all different levels of ability on the court. And I don't want to create a more complicated system, but I was kind of wondering, is that going to work pretty well where, players will come with lesser ability? Would it be helpful to, have like a beginner court versus an advanced court or anything like that, or is that just kind of making things more complicated?
Shall I speak from here or?
Yeah, please come up.
Yeah, you're discerning the situation really well, I think. Yeah, so it's only natural, it skills, we improve in our skills, people want to play with, other people with the same skill, ideally with, people who get, keep improving on their level of play. What I see happening within this system that Nick has come up with, for example, so we've got 4 guys that are, for example, a higher level of play, and they get bumped off. And if they want to continue to play together, they would have to wait in rotation to be able to do that again. Right? You see that would be the way it would go. Right now, the way it has been, it's just been a lot of mixing, different levels, people, and that's a very amicable situation. What naturally happens also in this game is a stronger player playing weaker player. You don't tend to get fewer and fewer balls hit to you. It's just the way, it's just the way it is. So somehow, and when other systems, they have like a challenge court, for example, like the designated one. With 4 courts, a little tough to do, that type of streamlining, something like that, to have that included. But, there's probably creative ways to do that. I think probably what I described to you will probably be the organic way for now.
Well, please come back to the commission if there's no, if any tweaks are necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, we just,
Or not, it's up to Nick.
Yeah, okay.
and just,
Sure.
to
And-
agree,
If I may just add, what I see as a possibility, going forward, is to make court three a pickleball priority court. Where, with someone playing tennis, they would have a certain amount of time, they would come off so that pickleball can be played. If we get court 4, for example, also have lines put on that. Well, that would continue to be the tennis priority court, where the pickleball players, so on, to play tennis, they can play tennis. Some version of that, but I would really like to see the hours expanded, because they would be used for courts quite a bit.
Well, we encourage you to continue to work with.
Yes, yeah, I've noticed.
Partner on this.
I'll put the notes in that.
No, and just to add a little bit to your question, so, in order to get level play, a lot of communities do have allocated courts. And you see this in places that have a larger number of courts, so I played up in Incline Village, they've got 10 or 12 courts, like 4 are allocated beginners, 4 to intermediate, and 4 to expert play, and so people can choose where they're at, and then they can sort of adjust as they need. Other communities where there's a smaller number of courts, but a lot of players, which is, not the exact system we have or challenge we have right now, have been allocations by time. So 9 to 11 is for beginners, and 11 to 1 is for higher level play. For the 4 courts that we have right now, I think what Nick has proposed is perfect, because it provides flexibility, and as Michael just said, if a higher level group wants to play together, they can just put their 4 paddles together on the rack, and then when their turn comes up, it comes up. But as we think about expanding and when we move into court 4, that'll be 8 courts then, if we end up doing that. That would be a good time to revisit the question, should there be an allocation system all around those 8 courts, or continue to have an open play, which is what they do in Novato and Hill. All 6 of those courts are, again, open play, and the way people organize is around putting their paddles together in the paddle rack. I don't know if that.
All right. What I like about pickleball and the community is when I played years ago, there was an ambassador who was there to teach the game, which I've never seen before, and they're very encouraging. Hey, come on, you've never played before. Come on, we'll teach the game, and they're trying to build the sport.
Yeah. I would say that spirit is alive and well. It's not uniform 100% of all people, but the majority of people are that way, as Marcello said earlier. I mean, very high level players will welcome him onto a court because it's great to have a kid out there and they want to encourage him to play. And they may not want to play 6 games back to back with Marcello, but to play 1 or 2 with someone who's newer to the game, or older or younger, who doesn't have the same physicality. It's just part of the fun of the game, and it's great to be able to pass that passion along.
Well, thank you. Clearly, there's gonna be a lot more discussion if we go to the master planning session. So thank you very much for that. Let's move on to the director's oral reports.
All right. Thank you, Chair Sunshine. Before I start, I want to mention something. I have we had an employee that worked at the front desk with us for a while, Tony DeFrancis, who I think some of you may have met, and she takes our minutes right now. So she is listening to this, not right this minute, but she'll listen to it later. And in 2017 or 2018, she's an avid tennis player, and she was talking about playing a new sport called pickleball. And she was saying this, it was Dick Whitley and I at the time, and she said, this is going to be such a huge sport, Nick and Dick. Watch this. It's going to be huge. I love it. And Dick and I rolled our eyes and said, sure, Tony. And I ran into Tony a few months back, and the first thing she said to me was, told ya. So I just want to acknowledge right now on public record, Tony DeFrancis, you were right. What else do we have going on? So the parks are packed right now. School's back in session. After school sports have started up again, and so it's if you go to Piper right now in the afternoons, I encourage walking or biking because you won't find parking out there. There's a ton of people out there. Kind of cool to see it. Recently, our public works staff was got caught there was traffic on the bridge. They couldn't get back, and so they ended up staying in the park for a little bit and just hanging out. And they were just commented on how great it was to see the park being used so heavily in the afternoons, and it made sense why they had to clean up so much stuff in the mornings. Just seeing the amount of people there, so it was kind of a cool experience for them because they're typically 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. So to see it being so heavily used, they really appreciate it. So I wanted to thank them for their hard work keeping the parks in order too. We wrapped up the Music in the Park series this last Friday. We had Spike Sykes and his awesome hotcakes out. People were commenting that it was the best show yet. Really good blues, jazz. Really excited to have that group back. They just really worked the crowd, and they were swing dancing the whole time out on the dirt in front of the stage. Just a great time, and thank you to the Larkspur Community Foundation for sponsoring that series this year. We did have the August. We haven't met since the third one too, which was the Doug Adams came out with his crew, and there was a celebrity sighting. We had a celebrity get up and actually sang a couple songs towards the end. And that is Ramblin' Jack Elliott. It's a local guy, and Mike, you've heard of him?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and Bob Dylan's mentor. So kind of cool because he got up and sang a couple songs at 93 years old. So great series, and I'm looking forward to next summer as well. And finally, we've extended the deadline for donations for night lights at Piper Park. We've starting to have some donations roll in right now, and I've been a little bit slow reaching out to people, but if you guys can help me plug that and get some donations coming in. I met with the Twinkle Lighting earlier this week, and he's got a plan for expanding out along the pathway for a few trees and expanding what he's doing out there. And it's funny because he lives in Mill Valley. He's in Larkspur a lot, and he gets constant recognition for having done that job, and people talk about it. So sponsor tree, get someone sponsor tree. I think it'll be big this year.
What's the deadline?
October 15th is what we extended to. Yeah.
How much money are you taking donations in the form of lights or money?
So we will take so we're looking for money donations. We'll take anything to start from people, but packages start at $500. We'll get you a tree sponsorship. $1,000 will get you a tree sponsorship plus a hot cocoa night for you or your organization at a Piper, and then $2,500 will get you 3 trees, name on the as a main sponsor, and then a hot cocoa night out as well. And the idea with the hot cocoa night, we did one last year and it was great. We had a couple hundred people come throughout throughout an hour and a half or 2 hour period. And if we can make those into some more public events, and Larkspur Community Foundation has put in for 2,500, and so they'll have a night out there. Maybe we'll have one for the Commons Foundation as well, and so we can kind of have some free community events those evenings. We can kind of work them into events. So. And that is all I have.
exciting about the lights in the park. I've been talking every time you remind people, and now it's starting to get darker. Remember how great it is, but it starts to get dark, and we've got lights, lights in the park.
It's hard to ask for holiday money in August.
August,
Yeah, yeah.
So I have to say, the last couple of weeks is definitely made us all think about the fall. Okay, let's move on to item 7, commissioners reports.
I do.
Yeah.
Just in regards to the, Larkspur wine stroll that happened last month. I was pleased that, the roads were closed down for that. Seemed like, a few people that I talked to that went to the event, said that was it was a better way, a better setup for it. And, a safer setup, so I was very pleased that happened this year.
Were you there?
I was not, my wife was. You there?
I bought a ticket and so. That's that. Great, thank you. Is there anybody? Anything else?
I would just give you some feedback. I've heard from people that they really love the music at the park.
Thank you.
People that had not done it before, so it appears that some newbies are showing up, so that's a good thing. And then, of course, Niven Park, I understand that it's getting ready to go out to bid.
That is a Rita question. I'm not 100% up to date with what's going on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
draw a line.
Getting close.
Great. Thank you.
Nothing from me.
Well then, okay, motion to-
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You.